Welcome to the Williamson Watchers podcast. I'm Peg Raciti, joined with me by Leigh Ann and Elliot Franklin. Between Russiagate being unearthed and the My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, case being reversed on appeal when he spoke of election machines being hacked by China. From the announcement of the special election primary, election integrity is back in the news. So it's fitting that we will be discussing election integrity today. Franklin's own Frank Limpus joins us today. Frank Limpus is a bona fide Williamson County Republican and founder of Tennessee Voters for Election Integrity. This group's mission is to share with state legislatures, election commissions, government officials, and the public opportunity to plug the holes in Tennessee and Williamson County's election systems through their extensive research. Frank is a retired marketing communication professional that includes a regional university medical center, 2 international corporations, a regional marketing agency, as well as a decades plus head of his own marketing communications firm. So, welcome, Frank Limpus.
Oh, thanks very much. Pleasure to be here. You know, one of the things I think when we talked earlier that I wanted to touch base on was the president's executive order for elections and what it could do for Williamson County. And along the way, this video is just absolutely perfect that Tulsi Gabbard has gave us 30 seconds of why we should be concerned about elections, if you want to play the video.
I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this, election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections.
I mean, she just sums it up. I mean, that we've been saying this stuff for the last 4 or 5 years now, and so tickled to have her come along with her expertise, or certainly her team, and the researchers that are able to say, listen, a lot of what these people have been saying about machines, Mike Lindell and others, is true. And that's the thing that has really animated me over the last 4 years, is just the concerns that we should have, that we are so machine heavy in our voting process. And good gosh, we used to vote, during wars with paper ballots in one-day voting and in a precinct. Why do we have so much complication at this point in time? And it's complication that has been proven to be hackable. They can stop working the way they're supposed to do, and we experienced that back in October of 2021 in our elections in Franklin. So there's better ways to do it, and part of what we've been trying to do is just share with people, this is our research, this is what we have learned, and guys, we need to start thinking smart here.
I'm curious to know what kind, because you've been pretty outspoken about how you feel about hand-marked paper ballots and all of that kind of thing. I'm curious, just as you have spoken in different locations with different groups, what kind of responses have you gotten from people? Are they all on board? Is there sort of a middle of the road bunch, or
Good question. It's been sort of mixed. I think the people that have been more engaged, maybe more grassroots in nature, have understood it and have been crying out. And I just come along and I'm kind of a voice that has done the research that says, hey, what you know about the validity of using hand-marked paper ballots is a whole lot better than the machines. People like that. And yes, they do agree with them, and I agree with them as well. I haven't been in necessarily hostile situations other than meetings where I have gone and then stood up and asked questions. And in some cases, I have had, I wouldn't say arguments, but, back and forth with our election commission about, for instance, the paper ballot that we have, which in truth is not voter verifiable. You cannot take the ballot that we use in our elections and look at it, stand there in the ballot box and say, oh, yeah, that does contain, and that barcode contains my selections. It is the barcode that is read by the tabulator, not the text that's on the ballot. And people don't get that. They don't understand that. So they cannot look and say, yes, indeed, these machines are being fair with me. They truly captured what I wanted to say in my vote. So when I have arguments about that with some people, they kind of poo-poo me and probably, say I'm a nut or something. But that's what I have found. And this is not just with us here in Williamson County. It's nationwide that this same argument's going on. The interesting thing is nationwide, about 68% of the nation votes with hand-marked paper ballots. We don't. We don't have a hand-marked paper ballot. So what is it that the nation knows, most of the nation knows, that Williamson County doesn't know? Well, it's the machine. The particular machine that we've chosen doesn't have a hand-marked paper ballot, and that's one of the things I've been crying out for a while.
So
Yeah,
I'm
great.
sharing on the screen, and I just wanted to sort of zone in on the barcode and what people see, because when our machines go through, we see who we voted for, right? And
Yep.
it lists it, and people are always arguing the point that how can you say that we don't have checks and balances, because we can literally see who we're voting for. But then I'm looking at the top where there are all these barcodes.
Yep.
And so is the machine reading the barcode, or
Yep.
is the machine reading the text?
Exactly. For in this barcode, which is it looks like it is an ES&S barcode ballot. You see those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 different barcodes. Okay, each vote or each race down here in this list, there's probably 15 here. This person made a selection and it created a little barcode. The big long barcode at the top is basically an interpretation of the election, what the precinct and that sort of information. But then each little race here that was chosen created a barcode. If you voted for one race and then left, you would just have one barcode. It is the barcodes that the machine reads. It is not the text. And that's, like you say, that is the unfortunate thing, Peg, that people will look at this, oh, yeah, that looks good, or in many cases, they won't even look at it. They'll glance at it and then walk away and might not notice that the machine basically had flipped a vote or something. But
Right. So this is like exactly when you go to a grocery store, right? And everybody now goes to this for fast. I don't find it fast. Every time I go through there, I get so stressed out on the self-serve checkout. But you take and find the barcode, like say on a box of tissues, right? You'll put the barcode and you'll scan it. So it's not scanning the price, it's scanning the
the
barcode.
code, exactly. Yeah. The code basically is factored into the computer. Now here's where Elliot could probably explain this a whole lot better than I can. But it's factored into the computer, and the computer has, for that particular barcode, that sequence of vertical lines creates a certain message. It could be that your Kleenex was 15 cents a box, and that's in the barcode. In this first barcode, somehow, probably, let's see, it says Justice of the Supreme Court, dim, hope is lost. That's good.
I'm not
One
trying
of
to
those
be
barcodes
biased.
has that dim, hope is lost name in that barcode. And so the tabulator is reading the barcode. It is not reading dim, hope is lost. So again, you cannot stand there and be sure that what's in that barcode is really what you put. And there are so many ways to malconfigure things to the point that somebody could grab this machine and put, okay, I voted for Don E. Brooke, and but in essence, in the barcode, it actually was for Don Hope is lost, let's say. In other words, you cannot be sure because you cannot verify personally what's in that barcode. And so that's one big thing that I've been trying to get people to understand. But if we went to a hand marked paper ballot, you would know exactly who you voted for because you marked it. And there are studies done that when voters do that, they understand a lot better, who they voted for, why they voted for, etc. The machines just are not needed at all. Period.
Am I correct in remembering that the recent convention that we had back in March, that was a hand marked paper ballot, and those ballots went through a tabulator? So
Absolutely.
even I know that there were there was a recount was requested, and so they were literally able to go back through the paper ballots
Right.
and recount one at a time how many votes each person got.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point, right? To be able to go back and verify without having to use another electronic means to
In
interpret
fact,
what's on that paper.
Leigh Ann, that's a great example because the caucus that you guys ran, the convention, the voting was perfect. Uh, Everything was done by the book. I was there, not in the room, but I watched and I know how it should happen. And you're right. They had a paper ballot that you marked by your hand. It was not marked by a ballot marking device. You put it in, and of course, the paper ballot was there. And then when the election was over, when someone called for a recount, then they went through and counted up all the ballots individually and put them in different stacks and then counted up the number. And that did correspond with the number that was on the machine. In other words, you should have had 1,500 votes in a particular machine. I know we had about 6 of them or 5 of them or something. So somehow you should have had a certain number of votes, and it matched the number of ballots that your people counted.
Right.
So that is a great, again, that's a good example of why it's good to have a paper ballot, because you can go back and audit. But then to have the hand marked paper ballot is even better because it gives the voter a good feeling that, okay, I know exactly who I voted for. There's no question the machine didn't get in the middle of this. I know exactly how it should have registered my vote. I mean,
What's been the
ideally,
push?
go
What's
ahead.
been the pushback? Sorry, Elliot, you may have had a question, but I'll ask this and I'll be quiet. What's been the pushback, be it in Williamson County or at the state level, whoever controls how things are done? What's been the pushback on, or the holdup on being willing? If it's money, it seems to me going the paper ballot route might be cheaper in the long
Well,
run.
yeah, they do. For instance, if you have a paper ballot, you don't need the ballot marking device. So you can wipe that whole cost out of there. We have by law, we have to have the tabulator. So you got to use that. And,
Right.
the ES&S tabulators that we use can count either the ballot marking device driven ballot or a hand marked paper ballot. That same machine can count them both. So I mean that's good, and we would have the ballots with us. The I think the hold up about it is people are kind of gotten set in their ways, and I think it's more maybe the county commission, or excuse me, the election commission just feels comfortable with the process, with the machinery. I think a lot more people now, and from a consumer standpoint, are waking up and saying, "Wait a second, we have seen so many problems with these machines." And by the way, on my website, which I'll give you the address later, I've got a bunch of videos of exactly that, where and articles where elections have been totally flipped because the machine said Frank won when actually Elliot won, and they had to do a recount. Guess what? Elliot won. Um, I think the election commission just doesn't want to change. And I understand that it's kind of a human thing, but if we want to have safe, secure, transparent, accurate, trustworthy elections, you need to do some of these things and take out these machines that basically cloud up the issue. And it can be done. The election commission, when I've mentioned, for instance, things like hand counting, that can be done, and despite what some members of the election commission say, it doesn't cost $1 million. It doesn't take 5 days. There are counties in the nation that have done it, and it can be done. There's processes that have been developed. Ultimately, I'd love to see us go that route, because I trust people more than I trust the machines, which can be hacked, can be changed. Um, Sorry, I'll get on my
Yeah.
soapbox here, and you'll get me started. I can't stop.
No, I'll weigh in here just for a second. I think Leigh Ann, and I'd be curious for Frank, but some of the pushback that I hear relayed is that, well, it's going to slow things down. You're going to prevent people from voting because we have to print all the ballots and these different things, and then we have to have you can't prepare for that. You might run out of ballots. Well, then again, that's because we have these vote centers instead of going back to precincts. If you have the precincts, there's only maybe one or two
Yes.
or three different ballot
Yes.
types for that precinct. So there's a long, and then the argument is, well, weren't we ranked? Wasn't Tennessee ranked, in the top of election integrity? Well, again, can't you pay for any survey to say whatever you want? I mean, to some degree. So depends on who's sponsoring it, who's paying for it. But I think we proved all the arguments about, well, and you can't count them quick enough. I mean, we had 1,500 paper, hand-marked paper ballots, at the convention in March that ran through the tabulators, and that was done, very quickly, 1,500 very, very quickly. And so, if we have to do the crawl, walk, run approach, and we do still have to, by law, use the tabulators, okay, let's take one win at a time if we can. Let's go to the hand-marked paper ballots, use the tabulators. Anybody wants to challenge it, great. We can take them out and count them by hand. We don't have to have an encryptor device that can decrypt the barcode and tell us, what that ballot said. That would take forever if you had to do that by hand, and it would be very challenging. So that's a lot of the pushback I hear, or some of those arguments. It's just too long. You're going to block some people from voting. No, you're not. It's just people are set in their ways, or they don't want to, you think from a business decision, they have gone and asked for millions of dollars for these machines, and then to go back and say, oops, we made a mistake. A lot of people aren't humble enough to want to admit that. Hey, you know what? We live and learn. We all make mistakes. We make $1 million, mistakes at some companies, and you just don't do it more than once. And so be able to say, we've done the research. That was a good system, but you know what? We think we've seen the research now. We need to go back. As a cybersecurity professional, again, doing this for 20 years, I'm on record back even when I was in Texas serving, when I got elected there to city council, saying, in my lifetime, we should never use computers for voting ever. I don't ever see a reason why. That's too easy to hack. You've got the wireless. You've got all kind of ways. It's just the Black Hat, which is a big hacking convention, actually coming up next week in Vegas, happens every summer in Vegas. There's demonstrations every year. People go online, they buy election devices like the ESNS machine, and they hack it live. They show you how simple it is to hack in person there.
Exactly.
And so why are we doing this as a state? Why can't we go back to the hand-marked paper ballots? And by the way, it's the law now with this executive order, right, Frank, as I understand it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I've got a video on my website that shows a guy in 5 minutes. He is speaking to a county in North Dakota, and he's telling them they've got ESNS machines, and he goes through it, and in less than 5 minutes says, yes, and shows him his laptop. Yes, I've gotten into your system now. I mean, it can be done. Very interesting. A little history. The machines kind of appeared in 2002. It was the Help America Vote Act that came along after 2000 and the Hanging Chads. So at that point, given the Hanging Chads, and you guys, you might not be old enough to really remember some of that. I do. And it was like, oh gosh, get us away from that. And of course, now, after about 20 years with machines and us to learn more and more of what the machines can do and can't do, it's like, we need to go back. We were good with paper. We just needed to find another way to handle it other than a punch card that
Yes.
gave us chads.
Yes.
So yeah, it has changed a lot, and really we're back to we needed to stay with the paper. And I think more and more people are realizing that. The nation realizes that. That's one of the things that Trump's EO is standing for, is that we need to go to voter verifiable paper ballots. And again, we don't have voter verifiable paper ballots in Williamson County, despite what some people will say.
Yeah, so I just am looking up Trump's order, and I don't know if that is exactly the paper ballots right now. I think the executive order deals with citizenship and same day voting.
Some
Is
of
there
it.
Okay, so I just want to sort of
There is
clarify.
a Well, go again on the website. I've got a copy, a link where you can go and you can get the order itself, and it does address a number of things across the nation, and some of which we don't have to deal with because we don't have the ballot drop boxes. We don't mail out ballots to just anybody and everybody. That can lead to enormous number of issues when it comes to bad voter rolls and that sort of thing. We do have some voter roll issues, but there's a lot of things that Tennessee does pretty doggone good. I want it to get to the point where, okay, I want to have confidence again in it after what I've seen. And I think to some degree, I think there's going to be more coming out about, the election and just how good the elections have been over the last number of years. But his order does talk about it, and I'm trying to look at Section 4. It mentions a voter verifiable paper record is what's needed. And we've got a paper record, but it's not voter verifiable. So that I think would be one of the change. The order itself, there are four things in the order that I came up with when I started studying it. One is we're supposed to, the EAC, the Election Assistance Commission, which oversees all of the machines, is supposed to upgrade and recertify the machines to a 2.0 standard versus a 1.0 standard. The 1.0 standard had certain security and certain things about it. Again, Elliot could probably tell you a lot more about this than I do. But it was in place in 2005 when HAVA, the Help America Vote Act, came out. These standards and the creation of the Election Assistance Commission in 2005 established this. Our machines that we have only get certified to a 2005 standard. We all have cell phones, iPhones. The first iPhone came out in 2007. So our cell phones have far more security upgrades, standards in them than our election machines do. And that's again, one of my concerns. Trump's kind of addressing that. Another is, again, the machines. You can't use machines that have the paper ballots with a barcode or a QR code. Good. We've talked about that. Another one that I think is going to affect Tennessee is that there has to be a report by Homeland Security and the EAC about the security of all electronic systems in the voting registration process. And the voting process as well. Interestingly, there is a tiny little company out in the middle of literally a cornfield in West Tennessee. It's called Embry Consulting. I've looked them up on Google Maps. They are the ones that handle 90 of 95 counties across the state. They handle our voter rolls, voter registration system, and the software for all that. We know absolutely nothing about them whatsoever. I've asked both the Williamson County Election Commission and the State Election Commission, we need information. Here's some questions. Who are they? What are they? What's their standards? What's their credibility, et cetera, et cetera. The last thing that I think could affect us in Trump's EO is making sure that there are no foreign nationals or entities supported by foreign money that is either donating to our elections, or even advising our elections. So those are the four things that, out of all the things in Trump's EO, that I think we need to be looking at. Like I said, I have gone before the state and county election commission asking questions. Haven't gotten a lot of answers, which is very disturbing. It kind of tells me that maybe not a lot's being done. And here's the interesting thing: his EO was for federal elections. That's the only thing that a president can really affect, is a federal level of things, federal elections. Our now the District 7 Mark Green election that's coming up, that is a federal election. So technically, these entities were supposed to have all of these things done, the recertification done, the paper ballot option done for that election, which happens in October. I'm not getting a lot of confidence that either the state or the county are going to have those options addressed. I wonder if they're just kind of running out the clock. And well, it gets to a point where it's too late, can't handle it, can't do it now. But I don't want to necessarily insinuate. I just want to give you the benefit of my research and what I've heard and not heard, and that's one concern that I have regarding that District 7 race, and then the races in 2026. We really need to get, I think, a lot of this handled before 2026,
Right.
because of that's even a greater mountain to climb. Not only in time getting it done, but doing it the right thing.
I'll just say, in terms of being in cybersecurity, and this is not just cyber, but a lot of fields, it's, the trust but verify, Frank. And so, and that's a lot of what you've been doing. And so, I mean, one of the things that we try to do here on the podcast is help folks, give them the tools so that they don't take our word for it either. But what are some tools, and I know you're going to give us your website, but what are some tools where folks can go out and actually do that research on their own? Don't take my word for it. Don't take our word for it.
Yeah.
But, go out and do the research. And also then when they do that, how can they get involved to actually try to show up for some of these meetings or contact some of these officials so that they can try to get things changed, just so that you're not the lone, the sole person going out and doing this?
Well, this must be Peg. She's already gone straight to my website, and I think this is the resources page. All of these are basically articles on top and videos down at the bottom. These are all links, and you can go to and just get yourself educated of the benefit of what I educated myself in. I got into this thing, and we had the problem with the Dominion machines in the election in 2020, and I realized, oh my gosh, we got them in Williamson County. So I and some fellow conservatives and I started looking and going deep into these issues and researching and finding out, and then basically putting these on our website or sharing them or sending them out. I think if folks can just click on any one of these things, and the videos I think are fascinating. There's a lot of really high level people, cybersecurity guys that are doing some great work. So that would definitely be the first thing. Another thing is then become vocal. I'd love to see them join, for instance, if they're not with the party at this point. The party stands for election integrity. I think that's a huge plank that you guys have. So tickled to hear that, and people need to join in, and then let's get active about what can be done. Another thing is attending meetings of the Williamson County Election Commission. Now you can go to their website, and they have a public information page, and that's when you can find when the meetings are held. Or if you want to just send me an email at my website, I'll include you in a list of people that I share information when I get the notices for elections. So we can get people going to and attending the meetings, and then be willing to speak. You can't just sit there and expect somebody else to do it. I mean, if not me, who? I mean, we've all heard that. So you're going to have to get up, and we're going to have to do this because it's a work saving our republic or keeping our republic. And it takes people standing up. And that's part of what got me energized in this thing, because I didn't want to lose the country for my kids, my grandkids, and all that. And you guys, I know all of us kind of feel the same way. Those would be three things, I think, instantly. And I think once you really get into it, if you really have a urge, you can start digging in some rabbit trails and really learn a lot of stuff. And there are a lot of lanes here that a lot of folks can fill. And again, that's another thing. If someone wants to get in touch with me and say, okay, how can I help you or get involved with Tennessee Voters for Election Integrity? I've got several lanes that I could fill with people and keep you busy and keep you intrigued with what's going on. And the more you learn, you get a little bit upset, and then you kind of, all right, we're going to go handle this. And we have done some great work over the past 5 years.
Well, the information that you have linked, I mean, it is amazing. It can fill a book. So I appreciate all of your
That's
sharing.
The book is
Very
coming.
good. We look forward to that. Thank you so much for joining us. It has
No
been
problem.
Such
Glad
an
to do it.
eye opener, and I know I've already learned so much, and I'm about to go dig into some of those resources.
Well, there was, I tell people, I got into this thing, and growing up, I did not, because of some hearing issues, I couldn't serve in the military. So this is now my way to give back to those men and women who, gave up their lives, fought to keep the republic, and are going to continue to do that. This is the way I can participate, and I can do something. So just glad to be working with you guys. Can't thank the party enough. Y'all are doing a fantastic job, and look forward to just staying engaged with you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm so glad to have met you and to learn, have this opportunity to learn and to be able to share this with other people.
Thank you for that, Leigh Ann. TennesseeElectionIntegrity.com. Those 3 words together, spelled out. That's my website. And again, boy, start reading and looking, and you'll learn more. You probably will be, surprised, but you'll learn more than you would ever think to learn. And that's kind of how I got started and got enthused. So take the benefit of what I've learned, and we can pass it on.
Well, that's another episode of Williamson Watchers. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you, Frank, again. Thanks, Elliot and Peg, for all you do. We got things coming up here, mix and mingles and spaghetti dinners and comedians and all kinds of fun things that we have coming up in the county. So just jump on our website, check things out, and we will look forward to seeing you next time on Williamson Watchers.